That looks like that one will go until noon. Includes Bertie, Chowan, Gates, and Hertford counties. Also includes Ahoskie, Cofield, Harrellsville, and also St. John. This one was issued just about 3 minutes ago, and it looks like there may be a tornado possible with this storm, with that new severe thunderstorm warning that we're looking at here. It looks like a tornado is possible with that one, so that's why it looks a little bit differently than the other yellow polygons a little bit farther off to the east. It's got kind of that red outline. That is because a tornado is possible with this storm. And zooming into that, just to give our neighbors in southern parts of Hertford County what they need to know here. We're seeing that around Pleasant Plains, Ahoskie, putting some street names on it for you. US 13, you're seeing Fraser's Crossroads, Union Road, Boone Farm Road, Martin Luther King Jr. Drive North, and Ahoskie Cofield Road. We're seeing some of those bright red, those yellow colors showing up, and also some of those yellows, or excuse me, some of those greens as well, once again indicating where that rotation is within the storm. So once again, we do have this severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued about 3 weeks ago, and looks like we have an update on something else going on here. This severe thunderstorm warning, let me zoom in just a bit so that it can pick up on the one that we wanted to pick up on. This one goes for Bertie, Chowan, Gates, Hertford counties until noon. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning. Lots of action happening right now in northeastern North Carolina. General rule, if you live in northeastern North Carolina, head inside. If you are under the sound of my voice, you need to head to an interior room, because even though this is a severe thunderstorm warning, you do see storm threat, third line down, tornado possible. Also strong winds up to 60 miles an hour. 75-inch or 0.75-inch hail is possible with this severe thunderstorm warning, as well as that potential for the tornado. So that's why this one looks a little bit differently. It's got that red outline, and it looks like we've got an update on that westernmost tornado warning. Let me again switch over to my internet tab, and if you give me a second, I'm going to drink a little bit of water. Lots of talking, lots of things happening out here right now. So it looks like update to a tornado warning just came in about a minute ago from the National Weather Service. Has taken Perquimans out of the tornado warning. So Perquimans County, you are no longer included in this tornado warning that is farthest off to the west. Now, we do still have 2 other tornado warnings that are currently in place that will go. One is set to expire. This middle one is set to expire at 11:30, the one that we initially went on the air for. And then we also have this one farther off to the east that will go until 12:15. So stick with me. You've got me for about 50 more minutes at the least, because we're going to continue to stay on the air with these tornado warnings that are currently in place across northeastern North Carolina. Let me take the alerts off so that we don't have that showing up there, and do want to take you a little bit farther out, showing you what else is going on. Let's take you back to the radar as well. Got some info coming in from the newsroom a little while ago from Chesapeake. Traffic alert. Also, let me zoom out, and I'm going to put the radar on loop so that we can see all of what's happening out there. So this is the last 3-hour loop that we're looking at here. We've got a traffic alert coming in out of Chesapeake. Storm-related power outages in the Greenbrier area. So if you are in the Greenbrier area, you may be hearing me online. You may be hearing me online because of your power outages. So hopefully people have some of those devices charged up. So we do have some traffic signals that are affected in the Greenbrier area of Chesapeake. Several roadways, including if you live in these areas, you need to go grocery shopping, heads up. Kempsville Road, Greenbrier Parkway, Volvo Parkway, and Battlefield Boulevard North. So again, power outages in Chesapeake, Virginia, not where we're seeing the severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings. This is to the north, but we also do have that flood advisory that will go until noon into parts of Chesapeake. I'll talk about that in just a second. We also have a new tornado warning in effect for parts of Hertford County, and also looks like it's going into Chowan and Bertie counties as well. We'll get to that in just a second. Lots happening right here. Just want to remind you all again, just mentioning this once again, storm-related power outages in the city of Chesapeake, in in the Greenbrier area of Chesapeake, heavily populated. It's Sunday. People might be heading out, getting their groceries for the week. We've got some traffic signals that are affected by these storms. We've got strong winds out there. We've had lots of lightning. Matter of fact, let me put the lightning back on there so you can see kind of what's going on. Most of this lightning right now into North Carolina, but traffic signals affected in the city of Chesapeake, Greenbrier area. If you're around Kempsville Road, Greenbrier Parkway, Volvo Parkway, Battlefield Boulevard North, maybe you're heading to the Wawa on Kempsville Road to get gas, heads up, traffic signals are affected. Taking you back to the radar right now, again, we have a new tornado warning in effect for, it looks like, again, parts of Hertford County, Chowan County, and also Bertie County. Now that one will go until noon, so only about the next 35 or so minutes that we'll have this tornado warning in effect, and going to get you some information on that super quickly, so just give me a moment here. Let this page load up. Now this one's moving pretty quickly. This is the quickest one that we've seen so far, moving at 30 miles an hour. You're also seeing lots of lightning, and this is right inside of that severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued that I was telling you. It looks a little different than the other ones with this red outline because of that potential for a tornado within this storm as it's moving. Looks like to the southeast, but they're saying east, but it's east-southeast is what we'll give it at 30 miles an hour. So let's pause this. Let's go ahead, zoom in. Again, we've got lots of action happening across northeastern North Carolina right now. So this storm is moving 30 miles an hour. I'm going to adjust this because the other storms, they were moving at 20. So this one's moving a bit faster, and we are seeing some of that heavy rain as well as the lightning, the thunder coming down. If you're in a husky, I know you can hear it right now. So let's take this over the next, see if we can get 45 minutes. 45 minutes. Over the next 45 minutes, if you are in the areas of Powellsville, 1133, Harrodsville, 1141, Rosemead, 1145, Colerain, 1150, 1155 for Cannon Ferry residents, and right around noon for Ryland and Cisco, 1204, you'll have that heavy rain, lightning moving into your area. This storm is a tornado warned storm. So just a heads up on that. In addition, I'm going to zoom out. Let's clear this. Let's zoom out. Do want to tell you as well how much lightning is coming into this area as well, because it's plentiful lightning is happening in this storm alone. 157 lightning strikes, and again, this is moving down to the east southeast generally at 30 miles an hour, and some of the areas that are currently seeing some of that. Let's zoom in. We have some heavy rain looking at Ahoskie. We've got Early's also into Fraser's Crossroads, Jernigan Airport Road. Looks like Martin Luther King Jr. Drive North, Godwintown Road. As we head up towards Ahoskie Cofield Road near Diddley's Mill, we've got some pretty heavy rain around Van Road. What was that? Lost it. Ronda's Lane, Perry Road. How heavy is this rain in this little pink area right here? 6.5 inches per hour. This is the heaviest rain that I've seen so far this morning, coming down in this tornado warned storm for parts of Hertford, Bertie, and also Chowan County as well. So Pleasant Plains, Cofield, all those areas along 11, West Saluda Hall Road, Boone Farm Road, Oak Villa, again, Cofield along 45. We're seeing those heavy rain and also the lightning coming as well. And also Pylands Cross Road included in that, Evanstown Road, Quebec Road included in that tornado warned storm, and looks like something of a hook. Again, we're watching maybe this little bit here, but let's go ahead and switch you over to the velocity, see where the winds are moving, and I'm going to put here the warnings back on so you can kind of see where that warning is. It's a little difficult to see the warning, so let me see if I can highlight it. There we go, just so that you can kind of see where the border of that tornado warning is. So what we're looking at here, for anyone just joining us because of the sound of their phone, or maybe you have a weather radio in place, or you had the TV on in the background from watching Daybreak and you heard the alert come on and you're saying, what is going on? This is what we call wind speed or velocity. This is showing how fast and in what direction the winds are moving with this storm. Now the radar for this is back towards Wakefield, so it's picking up, because the radar shoots at an angle, it's actually picking up these winds high up in the atmosphere. So this is a radar indicated tornado warning that we have right here for Bertie, Chowan, and Hertford counties that goes until noon today. And please excuse the heavy rain that's actually coming down at our station in downtown Norfolk. You might be hearing that being picked up over my microphone as well. So we've got heavy rain coming down across a good portion of our area, and we've been dealing with this rain since about 5:45 this morning in parts of the region. It's really just kind of overtaken things since then. So what we're looking at here, again, wind speed, wind direction. Anywhere that's a warmer color, yellows, oranges, reds, dark reds, that's showing where the wind is moving away from the radar site. In Wakefield, that's in Sussex County, quite a ways away. Anywhere that we have the yellow, we've got those winds moving toward, or excuse me, anywhere that's in the green, pardon me, anywhere in the green, those winds are moving toward the radar sites in Wakefield. So we do have some rotation happening with this. I'm going to clear these arrows off and see if we can zoom in just a bit, see if there's any tighter rotation happening with this. Let's see, where was this? It was located over Ahoskie. So we have Ahoskie there on the left side of your screen. You're also seeing Malibu Drive included there, Godwintown Road, Bethlehem, Archertown Road, Big Mill Road. So we do have this kind of matching. So what we look at when it comes to the velocity is bright yellows, reds, and next to bright greens or bright blues. So we do have some of that around Bethlehem. As far as this imagery goes, we do have kind of that brightness right around Bethlehem. So you do see right here some of the bright greens. We also have some bright yellows around that area. So what highway is this? And with that last sweep, looks like it might have shifted a little bit to the south. So this is right along 561. So if you live near 561 or if you're in Bethlehem, we do have some rotation showing up on the radar as well. And to take you over to what's called the correlation coefficient, and I like what I'm seeing here because it's not indicating, at least at this height, that we could be seeing something being lofted up in the atmosphere. But there is a little bit of some difference, but again, this is picking up what's going on very, very high up in the atmosphere. This is showing you that something is different from all of the things falling or moving around it. So what we're looking for is any type of difference in this color. So we're seeing a lot of reds. That's showing you that, hey, this is all the same. Wherever you're seeing a lot of those burgundy colors, all the things that are being picked up in the atmosphere, all the raindrops are the same. Maybe some hail being picked up with this as well. We will take a look at the hail detection in just a second. We also have other tornado warnings that we do want to get back to and let people know what's going on with those. But this is showing you that, hey, things are looking different. Things are falling at different sizes here with this. So I do want to take you to, let's talk about the hail. Let's go ahead and look at the hail really quickly, put that warning back on so we can see exactly what's going on, where that boundary is as far as the tornado warning goes. So we do have some hail being detected by the radar around Ahoskie, Cofield Road, Diddley's Mill, around Ahoskie on US 13, Pleasant Plains. We're also seeing that as well. Now Willoughby Road, Brinkleyville Road, Van Road, Godwintown Road, and again around Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, North Catherine Creek Road South. We have some small hail being detected with that, and hail was one of the threats issued with this tornado warning. Again, this one will go for a little bit longer, 0.94. We're also seeing 0.63, and it looks like they've issued a severe thunderstorm warning with tornado potential for the same area. So what I'm going to do, let's reset. Let's go ahead, zoom out, show the area as a whole to see exactly what's going on. So it does actually look like they may have dropped that other severe thunderstorm warning and either issued a new one or kind of just chopped back the one that we had just a little while ago. So again, we have 3 tornado warnings currently in place, and then also in Chesapeake, a flood advisory, which will go until noon. So I'm gonna loop the radar for you. Let's do the last 2 hours, shall we? Let's loop it for the last 2 hours here, so you can see kind of what's going on. And it looks like an update. That flashing is showing an update to the tornado warning into areas of Hertford County, also Gates County, and Chowan, a very small portion of Chowan County. This is a radar indicated tornado warning that goes until noon. Now again, we do have a couple of other tornado warnings, and we're going to go ahead and get into that right now. But again, we have multiple warnings all in northeastern North Carolina, and keeping an eye on those for about the next 40 or so minutes. So I'm just going to really, even though we do have some heavy rain coming down and that flood advisory, we'll talk about that in a second, but we do have multiple tornado warnings in place. Actually, looks like they may have just issued a new tornado warning. Yes, they did, for Camden, Pasquotank counties, new tornado warning until 12:15. So for the next 40 minutes, we have this tornado warning. Camden, Pasquotank County includes Elizabeth City. If you live near Elizabeth City, you are under a tornado warning until 12:15. And looks like an update to a severe thunderstorm warning happening there. So that's whenever you see that flashing, they're updating something. The National Weather Service is updating something as far as that warning goes. So as far as this new tornado warning, this one is moving east at 25 miles an hour. Could also be dealing with some severe sized hail, which would be the size of the coin, the quarter coin, so an inch in diameter. Give me a second here. Just need to drink a little bit of water here. We do have, again, 4 tornado warnings in place right now across northeastern North Carolina. These will go for the next 40 minutes as a general rule. We have tornado warnings through the next 40 minutes. We also have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect as well. So this new tornado warning with the storm located near Elizabeth City, that's moving at 25 miles an hour. Zooming into that, lots going on here. Let me try and break it down for you so you can understand here what is going on. Highlighting this latest tornado warning. Follow that shimmering polygon for the one that I'm talking about here, because they're kind of they're overlapping. The other tornado warnings are overlapping with this one here. So that storm located near Elizabeth City, moving to the east at 25 miles an hour. So we're gonna zoom in to Elizabeth City here so we can see a little bit more of what's going on with the city itself. See what's going on as far as the heavy rain goes. We've got it paused here, and we've got that sweeping radar going on. So we do have some heavy rain happening right now in Elizabeth City. Again, hazard, potential tornado, and also hail the size of the quarter coin, which is an inch in diameter. So that's some pretty large hail, and that will qualify as severe level hail if that is actually happening in that area. So again, heavy rain coming down in Elizabeth City. And just to show you, lots of lightning also happening in the Elizabeth City area. Zooming in just a little bit here, where some of that heavy rain is happening. West Church Road, West Colonial Avenue, Jessup Street, Knobs Creek Drive, around the Lumber Mill area, along 34, also Southern Avenue, Walker Avenue, Pear Tree Road. You're seeing the Fine Amphitheater also included in this tornado warning. If you live near the Mickey L. Burnham Fine Amphitheater near River Road, you are included in a tornado warning until 12:15. Knobs Creek Drive also included in that as well. So let's zoom out just a little bit. So we're paying attention to this southernmost tornado warning. Lots of red polygons, I know, there on your screen. Multiple tornado warnings currently in effect, and they're all for northeastern North Carolina. As we go through the next 45 or so minutes here, we're going to keep an eye on things. Again, lots of lightning showing up here. Putting a number on that lightning within this new tornado warning, we've got 175 lightning strikes, but it only takes one to cause issues, whether it's damage or whether it's something else. It only takes one lightning strike to cause problems. So you don't want to take that lightly just because they don't issue warnings for lightning. If you hear the thunder, head inside. If you see a flash, inside your dash. That's kind of what the National Weather Service, they say when it comes to those lightning threats as well. So what we're going to do here is let's take a look, Since hail was a threat with this system, hail signatures not showing up very large, which is good news. We don't want large hail. We don't want that to cause damage to anyone's home or car or anything like that. So the hail signatures are on the smaller side as far as the Elizabeth City, Pasquotank area goes. So that's some good news here. Do want to take you back to this other tornado warning where we had some larger hail signatures. Ahoskie no longer included in that, but areas like Bethlehem, Powellsville, Coleraine, Wake Lawn, Mount Gould, and back towards Rocky Hawk into Chowan County, all included in that. The hail potential, it's smaller, which is good news. Again, we don't want that large hail that we saw just a bit ago, taking you back so you can see. Yeah, we had quite a bit of hail potential as we look towards 11:26 time frame. And it was picking up on some larger hail within that thunderstorm that we had into that area. So that's some good news that we're seeing now, taking you to the current time, not really seeing too much as far as hail potential goes. However, let's go ahead. Let's try another product. Let's look at something else that could show us what's going on out there. This is the debris detection, and I'm putting the warnings back in place. This would show you that something up in the atmosphere is of a different size than the things that are surrounding it. So maybe it's a branch or something else being thrown up into the atmosphere by a potential tornado, by a funnel cloud that could be moving through these different areas. Now, what you would see is those kind of burgundy colors being surrounded by whether it's a green color or, excuse me, that burgundy color surrounding a green, surrounding a blue color. That's what you would see. And when we look anywhere between parts of Hertford County into Bertie County, we're not seeing that. We're getting a new sweep here as we look into areas of Camden County and Pasquotank County. We're not really seeing that, which is good news. And as we head into this other tornado warning up into parts of Camden County and Currituck County, also not seeing that debris detected into the area either. So that's very good news. But again, we still have these multiple tornado warnings. Now I'm going to take you over to another graphic. Another product that we tend to use, which is called Turbulence or Spectral Width. Now, what's going on with this one here? Let me zoom out so we can get the full swath of these tornado warnings that are currently in place. Now, this one a little bit more concerning. Now, what I'm going to be looking for and telling you that I'm looking at with this product is colors like orange and pinks and also some purples surrounded by gray colors. So this is showing you something in there. The winds are moving in a different direction, maybe a different speed than the winds around it. So the storm is moving, these storms are moving anywhere between about 20 and 30 miles an hour, generally to the east or the east-southeast. So maybe a little bit of a southern movement with them as well. So we are watching within these four tornado warning, well, really the three, because this one here, not much showing up in this tornado warning here. And this is the one until 11:45. So I'm sure they'll let that one expire. I believe they'll let that one expire at 11:45. So that'll go for the next 3 minutes. But zooming back out here and looking at the other tornado warnings that are in place, let's take you back to Camden County and Currituck County. Actually, it's mostly Currituck County. We do have this area that's showing that something is moving a little bit differently. Areas around Maple, you're seeing around 158. So this area right here, this is showing you that, hey, something is moving a little bit differently. There's some different movement within that storm. So that's an area of concern. I'm going to zoom in just to get some more. Okay, Community Way, Currituck County Regional, Hasty's Point, Barco, Simpson Lane. So those are some of the areas that we might have to be watching a little bit more closely for the next little bit. Maple Road, Swans Lane, excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And you're seeing that moving a little bit farther to the east towards 168, also 158 Ed Sawyer Lane. That's another area that we'll keep an eye on. And also taking a look here a little bit farther south down towards Poplar Branch, just on the edge of this tornado warning. We're seeing also a little bit of some pink showing up. So that's actually quite a bit of different movement. So that's showing that the the difference in the movement is a little bit more versus where we're seeing more of those orange colors wherever we see those pink colors. So just letting you know that if you are around 158 Markert Road towards Annette's Court, Collington Circle, Narrow Shore Lane, around the Poplars Point area, so just Poplar Branch area, please pardon me, just a heads up to those areas. So back towards H2OBX, if you live around H2OBX Water Park, you are on the southern edge of that tornado warning for Currituck County, but just know that there are some things happening there that you need to be in your safe place, even though you might not be in that tornado warning. You need to be inside in an interior room, lowest level of your house. So as we head towards areas of Bertie County, Chowan County, and also Hertford County as well, into that tornado warning, it's not very concentrated where we're seeing the differences in the wind speeds and the winds, within this tornado warning, and also the zooming out greater severe thunderstorm warning that's also in place as well. It's not as concentrated, but just know that there are some movements happening within this storm. So we could be talking about some strong winds happening with this storm. And again, let's take a look at the different tornado warnings that are currently in place and when they expire, taking you back to the radar here so you can see that there is heavy rain. Looks like they also just chopped off a good chunk of that tornado warning. So some of the areas that are no longer included in the tornado warning but are included in the severe thunderstorm warning still: Bethlehem, Dildy's Mill, Archertown Road, Harrodsville, you're still included in that. So they're just, as the storm continues to push off to the south, we are keeping an eye on that and taking the areas that are no longer included out of the tornado warning, but still in the severe thunderstorm warning for possible strong winds as well. But that tornado threat, at least for those areas that I just mentioned, no longer a concern. But again, cold rain into parts of Bertie County, Evanstown Road, Lloyd's Cross Road, Cannon Ferry, Mills Cross Road, Rocky Hawk, you're all included still in that tornado warning. I'm going to get some info on this just to track it as it moves into Chowan County so that you all in that area know what's going on. So this is moving 35 miles an hour. So some of these storms are actually speeding up. So just letting you know that as well. As we continue with our coverage of these multiple tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, we've got heavy rain, lightning also happening across both Virginia and into North Carolina. And North Carolina really are concerned right now with these multiple tornado warnings. So let me put a track on this. As it crosses the water into Chowan County, this tornado warning, not necessarily where that potential tornado could be, but this is where we see the heaviest of the rain, where we got some lightning moving through as well. So just going to take you not just into Chowan County, but also toward areas like Hertford as well. Not Hertford County, but the area of Hertford. So this is going to take you through the next 30 minutes. So this heavy rain is going to be moving into Rocky Hawk, 11:54, so 7 minutes there. Cisco, 11:59, Uapim Station, 12:10, and Hertford, the area of Hertford, we got some heavy rain possibly moving into that area right around 12:15. So we're heading closer and closer to that noontime hour. We do have some severe thunderstorm warnings also in place. So again, we have 3 tornado warnings currently in place across northeastern North Carolina. Now, I did mention Chesapeake quite a while ago. Let's head back up to Chesapeake because we do have a flood advisory that will go until noon. So we've got 12 minutes left on this, I believe. Let me double check, see that they didn't extend it. Yes, we have that until 12 o'clock this afternoon, that flood advisory, because you do see that we still have some heavy rain in that area of Chesapeake. So we're talking about Bells Mill. If you live in Deep Creek, Great Bridge, Hickory areas, we have that heavy rain happening still right now. And when we take a look at, this is going to say the past 12 hours here. But if I just take you the next 6 hours, the last 6 hours, you see it doesn't change that much. So it's really only been raining there for about the last 6 hours. And then looking at the the flood advisory that's in place, putting that back on for you. And then let's go ahead and take a look at some of these numbers, just astonishing numbers that we're seeing as far as the rainfall into Chesapeake. 5.2 inches, 5.9, upwards of 6 inches of rain in this area of Chesapeake up towards Bear Quarter, 3.5 inches. Hickory area, 2 inches. Still, that's quite a bit of rain into these areas along 17, 4.2 inches into that region as well. And it's not just Chesapeake. Zooming back out, we do have multiple areas that have seen quite a bit of rain, and we were just looking at tracking that system, that heavy rain into Chowan County. It does look like the National Weather Service has extended the tornado warning. So that's going to be extended, and we'll take a look at that in just a second, but just showing you the swath of the rain. And let me take the warnings off just a bit here for you so that we can kind of see what is going on. Again, we do have the observed precip quite a bit into areas of Suffolk, Chesapeake, and even into Hertford County, Camden County. You're seeing lots of rain happening into those regions. Cora Peak, South Mill, even towards Moyock, areas of Suffolk. Again, also seeing some pretty heavy rain into those regions as well. So the radar, again, we have multiple tornado warnings, but a new one just issued by the National Weather Service. And let's go ahead and see if we can zoom into that, get the information on that. That's for Chowan and Perquimans counties. Now that will go until 12:15, so we've got 25 minutes on that there. Again, Chowan and Perquimans counties, estimated hail size would be sub-severe, but still hail is dangerous whether it's severe or not, so we want you all to head into your safe place for that tornado warning that was just issued, and that will go until 12:15. Getting some info on that, how fast are these storms moving? They're also moving at 35 miles an hour, so we're keeping an eye on a severe thunderstorm near Coleraine or 7 miles southwest of Ryland. Now that's moving southwest at 35 miles an hour. We did just put a track on that, but since some of you are just tuning in, you just got that alert on your phone, we're going to time it out for you again, just to give you an idea on when the heavy rain is going to be moving into your area, and then we'll take a look a little bit deeper inside that storm. So again, these are moving at 35 miles an hour, taking you through Chowan and Perquimans counties over the next 30 or so minutes. We're looking at, let's move this out the way so we can, for those of you who are continuing to tune in, we can get you that information. All right, so there we go. Now we can move it out of the way. Mill Crossroads, 11:52. So you're probably hearing stuff right now. Cisco, 11:58 or so. Around 12:05 for Beach Springs, 12:10 for Hertford, New Hope proper, 12:18 and 12:21 for the area of Burgess. And again, tornado warning. I'm just timing out where the heavy rain is going to start to move into your area. This isn't necessarily where that potential tornado could be moving into those areas. Right now, we are going to take a look, however, at a couple of things. Let's take a look at a couple of things, everybody. So we're taking a look here at what is called the wind speed or the velocity. It looks like we've got some pretty strong winds happening right now in parts of northern, looks like Chowan County. So let's zoom into those. And again, I do have those severe thunderstorm and also those tornado polygons in place. I'm going to highlight it for you so I can see exactly which tornado warning we're talking about, because they're probably going to drop the one that's into parts of Bertie County and then also into Chowan County as well. So again, this new one for Chowan and Perquimans County that includes more so of Chowan County, that goes until 12:15. So looking at the wind speeds here, you do see some pretty bright yellows and also some greens there as well. So some strong winds indicated in that. And we do have some of those yellows and those bright greens close together right around Mill Crossroads, Rocky Hack. You do see River Road there where we're seeing maybe some of that rotation, some of those strong winds as well. And not to mention, we have the heavy rain, lots of lightning happening in these areas as well. So keeping an eye on those things as we track this system moving. They're saying to the east, but it's kind of got a little bit of a southerly component. So east-southeast at about 35 miles an hour. Again, I do believe they are going to either let this expire or they are going to drop this warning that is in place right now for areas of Hertford and Bertie counties, but just to see when that's set to expire. It's set to expire at noon, so they may drop it a little bit earlier. They may just let it expire at noon as well. So we're just keeping an eye on multiple tornado warnings across the area, mainly into northeastern North Carolina. Let's go ahead, reset once again, put the radar on there, put the loop, and I'm also going to put the lightning on there to show you that we have got a lot going on as well. And there was one thing coming out of Chesapeake that I want to go back to that came in from the newsroom. So if you are in Chesapeake in the Greenbrier area, some of those storms have affected traffic signals on several major roadways, including Kempsville Road, Greenbrier Parkway, Volvo Parkway, and also Battlefield Boulevard North. There may or may not be police there directing traffic if you are heading out at those impacted intersections. Again, these are big intersections. If no police are present, treat it as a four-way stop sign. Again, treat those as a four-way stop sign if police are not present in those areas directing traffic. And we do have Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lawson has now joined us for our coverage of these severe thunderstorms and also these tornado warned storms. And again, Jeff, we do have this flood advisory also in place in Chesapeake, not necessarily in the Greenbrier area, but we still got that heavy rain moving through that area and also some heavy rain in other areas as well.
Yeah, and I know, again, we've got a lot of really heavy rain across the area. That certainly is a concern. In fact, my daughter's roommate was in a major accident this morning, traveling out 58 when she hydroplaned and is in the hospital. So again, hits close to home, but there's a lot of water on the roadways. When I just drove in, I ran into a bunch of people hydroplaning as well. So watch out for that. But our immediate concern right now, all the different warnings that are down to the south. Just to update me on what's going on, other people I know are just joining us. Let's widen the perspective. Let's actually turn the radar off for just a minute and just focus in on who has the warnings, when they are in effect until, and get a little bit better view. And you can see from the Great Dismal Swamp, again, that's the flood advisory, but a lot of other areas seeing very heavy rainfall as well. So I know she talked about the one back here just east of Ahoskie. That's until 12 o'clock. So another 4 minutes, that one will be allowed to expire. But then that storm has now moved to the east. So we have the new one here in effect for southern areas there of Chowan County and Perquimans County. And this is a radar indicated storm, and that is until 12:15. So that's the first one as you go west, because the other one's about to expire any second. It has been extended now down here into southern areas, as I said, of Chowan and Perquimans. So that's number one. Let's check the next one over here. That also until 12:15. That's for parts of Camden and parts of Pasquotank, not the entire counties. A lot of times I have people ask me, well, you said it was for, Chesapeake, and it's nowhere near me. Well, we can't put only for a southwestern portion of Chesapeake or whatever. So this gives you the sort of broad area, and then within that we define it on a much smaller scale. So we'll do that again when we zoom in just a second. And then we have the yellow is a severe thunderstorm warning, but almost the exact same area is now overlaid with that next tornado warning. And that one is in effect until 12:15 as well for Camden and Currituck. But again, not all of those. Before we put radar back on, let's go and zoom in on what parts of these various counties we're talking about. For example, Currituck County stretches all the way down there to the Wright Brothers Memorial Bridge. It is not in effect from Poplar Branch all the way down south to the past the Grandy area and all the way down there again to the bridge. Not in effect for you, although eventually the storm over Elizabeth City may come over you, so you need to be keeping track there. Same thing with the one here around Elizabeth City, Pasquotank and Perquimans, not for areas down near the Albemarle Sound. It is in effect from Weeksville, from Goose Creek over to Weeksville, back just west of Elizabeth City, not quite to Parkville, back to the north, and then back over to about Indiantown. So those are the very specific portions of that county, or those counties actually, that we're talking about. And finally, this one that's down here near Hertford, again, this one is going to run out any second now in about 1 minute and 45 seconds actually. And because it's continuing to look like it may be producing a tornado, again, we have no confirmed reports yet, at least that I have seen, but because it's now now farther to the east or east-southeast. It's now in effect here for Cisco and Hancock, over to Edenton, back over to Yopum Station, Hertford, New Hope proper, and down to Burgess. But if you're east of Burgess, a little closer to the mouth of the river, it is not in effect. So again, those very specific areas. The movement on these, I know she was tracking a couple of them at 30, so we'll be able to put in, now that we've given you sort of an update on what areas need to be concerned, let's talk a little bit about the timing, some of these. So whatever one you want to pick, let's pick the one here near Edenton. She's been doing a great job. I've been listening on the way in on the app to her talking. By her, I mean Rochelle, obviously. Thanks so much to Rochelle for her coverage this morning. And she's been showing you the different velocity signatures and talking about, the correlation coefficient or any possible debris ball. So let's focus in on where this area is located, track it then to the south and the east. And even if these storms are not ready to hit you yet, you need to be making your plan, figure out where you're going to take cover. And for example, Hertford, that would be around 1212. 1220, New Hope proper, and then eventually way over here toward Burgess, just on the edge, at about 1225. It's scheduled to, again, expire before that, but assuming it keeps its present movement, as it gets over here a little bit more east into that, we would start to worry about, again, whether or not it needs to be extended. So let's look at some of the rotation on that, or if there is rotation. Obviously, there's some at least broad rotation, probably roughly around Cisco, actually maybe a tiny bit more to the south. And is this the regular velocity or the storm relative? Regular. Let's look at storm relative velocity and see if it's any kind of a change. This is a pretty broad area, to be honest with you, but often with a broad rotation, it doesn't take much to spin it up and drop it down really quickly. When we had the storm come through Elsa earlier, we ended up with 4 or 5 tornadoes, I remember. All of them were EF0s, which is, again, a pretty minimal tornado, but one that can produce some damage. And the longest one, I believe, was 4 minutes that it was on the ground. That's it. And almost all the others were 2 minutes. So literally, it can drop down, go for a minute or two, and pop right back up. And that's why these velocity signatures sometimes look different. And they look different on the mean velocity. So is this one now the mean velocity?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the mean velocity. And again, you say, well, you're throwing all these terms at me. What are you talking about? Well, I explained it before. The difference is, imagine standing on the side of a railroad track, or a NASCAR track for that matter, whatever it is, and watching a car go by, and you're supposed to tell what the person inside the front seat is doing. It would be hard. You can just see that rapid movement. But if you're in a pace car riding along next to that NASCAR and watching through the window, you can see pretty well what the driver is doing. It's the exact same thing. So the relative mean velocity simply lets you ride along with a storm. Now, mathematically, of course, they use algorithms and everything, but what it does is essentially, quote, put you just outside the storm, watching it as it goes along, and then seeing what kind of a rotation. So we'll often see, especially in rapidly moving storms, we will see a distinct difference in what is going on with the storm when you look at it rolling along with it versus not. So this is a pretty broad rotation right now. South of Belvedere, closer to Hertford, back down toward Yopum Station and Hancock. So right now, this is probably, again, a funnel cloud, probably not down to the ground, but you need to treat it like it is, because literally in the 2 or 3 minutes that it takes me to go and analyze another storm, this one can change its signature almost instantaneously and spin up a tornado. So again, right now these are radar indicated as possible tornadoes, but you still need to be taking cover in the places we talked about. We gave you the times. Burgess, for example, I remember was at 12:25. Take cover now. And what do you do when you're taking cover? A lot of you don't have a basement. If you do, go to a basement. If you don't, go to an interior room, put a lot of walls around you. Thank you very much, Rochelle, for bringing that up. Go to the basement or the smallest center room. Stay away from windows. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to be YouTube famous or whatever, and want to, catch a picture of the storm going through your area. Do not do that, and cover yourself. So again, Take cover now, any of those areas. So as we go back to analyzing them, you can see this entire storm. And I was a little surprised when I was watching this morning. I'm like, oh, it's 70 some degrees, you know. No severe weather possibility in terms of just regular, quote, severe thunderstorm warnings or anything for Hampton roads. But down to the south where they have more instability, that is where you're seeing these, again, tornado warned storms. And the one that we were talking about I started to say midnight, at noon, that indeed expired, as we had talked about, or Rochelle had talked about, how it went again now a little bit south of east of there. So that one is still in effect. We now have 3 to talk about. We have this one from Elizabeth City, so let's focus in on that one. That storm, again, if there is a tornado, would be here right now, almost on the edge of that, which makes sense because this goes until 12:15. Okay, I was going to say that looked like another warning, but that's the one to the north. So this one for Camden and Pasquotank, also radar indicated, should be, let's look at the velocities on that one. If there's a tornado, it's probably, yep, I was going to say right about Riddle. And it looks like maybe now, if there is one, it might be closer to Goose Creek and almost to the edge of that system. So we will see, or the edge of that warning. We will wait and see if they extend it for places like Grandy, as I mentioned, and down to the south. So near Goose Creek right now, Texas Road, Camden Point Road, Sailboat Road, you are not in the warning. The storm that produced the warning has moved just a couple minutes ahead of schedule and is now over here right toward the edge of that previous warning. And we'll wait and see if around Broad Creek Road and some of those spots, if they extend that and issue a new warning. And then the one to the north also, we can go back to that one. So around Water Lily, Corolla right now, not yet to you, but let's widen this out just a little bit and try to figure out, I guess, right about in here then. We can go back and forth between the regular velocity, mean velocity, look at the broad system as well on a, quote, regular radar picture. And you can see, again, the wind speeds, it's probably right in here where you see sort of that different color. If there's a tornado right now approaching Bells Island Road and right near Maple is where that storm, if it's on the ground, would be located. It would have just passed over East Ridge Road, be moving to the east. I assume this one's probably about 30 as well.
Probably. I'm getting a little confused because they're 30, 25, 35,
right.
Or generally 30.
So many of them, roughly at 30. It'll pass over Bells Island Road here, continue to work over toward maybe Water Lily Road. So that's the other one that's in effect for, 8.5 minutes here as well. So that is radar indicated. 3 of these were, in fact, all 3, I believe, are at 12:15 expiration. So we'll continue to watch those. As we broaden the perspective out, the overall movement has been to the east, sort of even southeast at times, as everything is bowing out. And you can see the rain won't be lasting terribly long here across much of south side. In fact, let me turn around and show you how rapidly this back end is moving in. Nice and steady progress. What we'll have to watch for later as the storms get offshore is the heat building back up, and with all this leftover humidity, still the potential will exist for a couple of isolated stronger storms later this afternoon. But clearly things are moving at a very rapid clip. And the way this one, you can sort of see the southern end is up there near Roanoke Rapids, and then it sort of builds to the southeast. So this one's actually diving southeast. I would be worried that eventually it gets and produces a water spout here over areas north of, let's say, Washington County, Adair County, Turrell County. That will be something we'll be watching for as it moves over here toward the Alligator River, potentially, but that's still a little bit down the road. But be careful if you're watching from down there and just make sure you stay tuned to us. This one near Elizabeth City is moving a little bit more south or east-southeast, almost due east. And the one here is moving due east. So you can see that sort of bowing effect as they continue to work their way through. And it should be a very rapid movement. The other thing I'm noticing is it looks like a lot of this was triggered by probably what we call a vorticity maximum, which is simply like a little bundle of energy, a little low pressure system in the atmosphere. And what we watch for that is rotation, just like you would see on any kind of a low pressure system in the northern hemisphere. We watch for that counterclockwise rotation. And I think if you watch here, watch at the very end here around Moyoc, sort of looks like a little bit of a spin right in there to me. So I think that is what is triggering it. So as that vorticity maximum, as we call it, moves out here from Moyoc offshore at about 30 miles per hour, it should, in fact, it will definitely for this first round at least, take all these storms and push them offshore. So that is the good news. We don't have a whole lot of time still left to deal with this. But in the meantime, we have to deal with, again, these severe storms right now. And I mentioned also before, and I talk about, broad rotation, and maybe it's spinning up a tornado. Your shingles, the trees that are getting knocked down, they don't care whether it's an F0 tornado, which is like 70 or 80 mile per hour wind, not like the big monster tornadoes we see out west. If it's a 70 mile per hour wind and spinning, it's going to do the same damage as a straight line 70 mile per hour downburst, as we call them. So as a result, we have to treat them very similarly. They're going to do similar damage to trees and homes, etc. So whether these are tornadic or not, that's why we always say treat them as if they are, because you could still be talking about some of the same kind of damage elements. Meanwhile, this has now been upgraded from a flash flood advisory that was flashing that sort of bluish color. Now it is flashing green because it is still raining pretty heavily there. So for parts of Chesapeake right now, just upgraded. This is now a warning, a flash flood warning, but again, not for all of Chesapeake. As we zoom in, you can see I-64 cutting across here, across Chesapeake, and it's south of there, just barely south, from around Bells Mill all the way over almost to the Virginia Beach line. It doesn't include out here near Fentress, for example, that extreme borderline area there with Chesapeake and Virginia Beach. It does not include you. It goes over probably fairly close to the Greenbrier area and then down here just east of Hickory. And boy, is it still raining really heavily from Bear Quarter to the east. This is Route 17, of course, that goes down through western parts of Chesapeake, so almost over to Lake Drummond in the Great Dismal Swamp. That is now an upgraded warning for flooding and radar and gauge indicator. Let's take a look actually at how much may have fallen in that area. That's a lot. This purple area is going to be at least a couple of inches, I would guess. And we can, again, this is just the radar saying, okay, I know how bright the, holy cow, 5 inches of rain. Well, that's, again, that's over a month's worth. Literally over 1 month's worth of rain falling in 2-3 hours, whatever it is. So you can imagine how hard it is for the ditches and everything else, the roadways, let alone the roadways, to get rid of that water and see everything. Luckily, as you get over here again toward Fentress, I mentioned Fentress not underneath that new, what was an advisory, now a warning. That's because you've only had about 1 inch. That's still a lot of rain, don't get me wrong, but it's not enough over an extended period of time. Oh, it does go just to about Fentress. So I was thinking Fentress was about in there. So it goes over to Fentress, but not a little bit east of there. That should be over toward, I think, Land of Promise Road, maybe. Some of those spots that border, again, a little bit closer to Virginia Beach. So I misidentified where Fentress is located by just a couple of miles, so it is in effect for you. Battlefield Boulevard, Centerville Turnpike, Layden Lane, over here toward Shalala Road. That is right in the, again, middle of where the very, very heaviest rain is located right now. Chesapeake Regional Airport. That's an unbelievable amount of rain, 5 and 6 inches, and over toward Johnstown Road. And that heavy pocket is sliding to the east. So even if radar is overdoing this by 10 or 20%, you're still talking about, again, some significant flooding in those areas. So that's why Chesapeake is under the was an advisory, now it's a warning. But again, not the entire city of Chesapeake. If you're watching from just in Chesapeake north of Lake Drummond, you are not under that warning because you haven't had as much Again, that's pretty much, unpopulated for much of it up until you get near I-64, near Bowers Hill, up toward Algren. 2.2 inches is still a lot of rain up there, so exercise caution. But again, that is that brand new, what was advisory, now a warning. So let's go back to the tornadoes, because we've got about a minute and a half, see if they've extended any of those already. They try to usually a minute or two ahead of time so that you don't suddenly see the crawl across the bottom disappear and say, oh good, things are done. And then all of a sudden a brand new one comes on. So that's new, I believe. This is now a severe thunderstorm warning. I don't believe that was in effect. Was it, Rochelle, for areas?
They just issued 2 new warnings.
Yep.
And yeah, these will go until 12:45 and also 1 o'clock. But yeah, this one here that I've just pulled up for 12:45. Camden, Currituck, Pasquotank, and Perquimans counties. Now, Jeff, this one does include, it looks like, the bridge from mainland Currituck County as it heads over to the Outer Banks as well. So this one goes until 12:45. 60-mile-an-hour winds, potential threat, and also hail the size of the quarter coin, which is about 1 inch in diameter. So both of those severe level threats are in place for this severe thunderstorm warning. This one was just issued until 12:45, and then there was another one that they just issued. Give me a second here, going ahead and pull this up. This one goes until 1 o'clock in the afternoon for Camden, Chowan, Pasquotank, and Perquimans counties. Now, this also has the same threats, but this one will go for an extra 15 minutes, and I believe both of these are moving generally east, southeast at about 35 miles an hour. So again, 60-mile-an-hour winds and also quarter-size hail. And then one thing, Jeff, that I was telling everybody was that these severe thunderstorm warnings, they look a little different because they have that red border. Now, these do also have that threat of the tornado as well. And speaking of tornadoes, does look like they just dropped those warnings, or those warnings just expired with the 12:15 time coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had a feeling that was going to happen, because the fact that all those warnings were being extended into areas that are about to get hit, but that they weren't tornado warnings, I thought was a good sign. I was getting ready to say that as soon as you finished. Again, with the red outlines here for some of them, it means there still is the possibility of a tornado with them, but that right now, that rotation, there's a brand new flood advisory that I can see popping up as well. So, ooh, that's a big one. That goes all the way here from just the Suffolk line, basically with Chesapeake, basically from the bottom corner there, the Dismal Swamp. Currituck is under it, Camden and Pasquotank as well. So that, again, is a brand new flood advisory that extends from the state line all just right where it meets Suffolk, all the way back down here, pretty close to Elizabeth City. Some of the western suburbs, if you will, of Elizabeth City, cut straight back across here, all the way through Poplar Branch, over to around, I don't know, Corova, Corrales, some of those areas, and then back north here to the state line. So that is a brand new flood advisory until 3:15. If this continues, just like we saw the other advisory, ended up pretty rapidly getting upgraded to a warning. If this heavy rain continues, and right now let's check some of these rain amounts. We saw what kind of amounts it took to get the upgraded warning to the north. That was, what had been 2 and 3 inch amounts suddenly within an hour or two turned into 5-inch rain amounts, and that 1 6-inch rain amount up there. But this location that we're looking at down here, not quite as high. Right now, the center of it around South Mills, under 5. So that's still a tremendous amount of rain, not quite the 5 and 6 inches that we saw to the north, especially because it's been spread out. If that were in an hour or two's time, then we'd be having flash flood warnings. But because it's spread out a little bit longer time frame, gives the water a little bit more time to recede, or sort of spread out. That's why right now it is only an advisory. But when I say only, that's still a lot of water in a lot of ditches and stuff out there. The sides of the roadway, any low spots, as well, are going to collect that water. So that is something we have to be alert to. So watch out for the flooding. Again, for parts especially of South Side down into northeast North Carolina, don't be out on the roads if you don't have to be. And we're going to continue to watch this area down here to the south for possible tornadic activity. But right now, that storm, and let's move this, let's put a tracker on this, move it here across some of tons and tons of people on the road on a Sunday morning getting out of the Outer Banks, others trying to get into the Outer Banks. So, of course, tons of people live in the Outer Banks. So let's take this, dive it all to the east-southeast, and it's going to be over places like Southern Shores at about 1232, Spot at 1232, Point Harbor 1242, and Kitty Hawk at about 1250, roughly. That's when the leading edge of some of this heavier weather should get to you. We can go back here. Of course, we could track this, but as you can see, there's not much left here from Nixonton down to the south and east. You're going to be under it very, very shortly, literally within minutes, over areas of Chowan County here and back to the just east of you, Perquimans and Pasquotank, moving pretty quickly to the southeast. So zooming in, some of these spots down here right near the bridge, the Route 17 bridge, or is that 37? Near St. John's anyway, and traveling to the south, I think that was a 37. Yeah, looks like it, or 32. You'd think I could see that with my glasses on right here, but again, anyway, heading to the south, continuing over here toward Woodard Road. So take cover right now. Even if it's only, quote unquote, a severe thunderstorm, that is still something you want to, again, not take lightly over here toward Harvey Point Road. So let's widen it all out, give you one last perspective on this, and Rochelle, just a fantastic job here covering this. Now that there are no tornado warnings, we're actually going to take a little bit of a break, send you back to regular programming, and we'll adjust as needed here going through the rest of the it's now afternoon. For the rest of the afternoon, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll do some cut-ins and, of course, continuous coverage if it is warranted.